Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain a poem, Telephone Conversation by Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka's full name is Akinwande Oluwole Wole Babuntunde Soyinka. He is a Nigerian playwright, poet and political activist. Born into a Yoruba family in Obekuta, Soyinka grew up in an Anglican mission compound. He was deeply involved in both Christian teachings and his native tribal spiritualism. That is reflected in his writings. He began writing for the Royal Court Theatre in London from 1958 to 1960. He played an active role in Nigeria's political history and its struggle for independence from Great Britain. In 1965, he seized the Western Nigeria Broadcasting Service studio. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he was arrested by the federal government of General Yakubu Gowon and was put in solitary confinement for 22 months. Soyinka has published several plays, novels and poetry. He writes in English and his literary language is simple, lucid, but projects the experiences of a Nigerian who has lived through civil war. His writing is unique because it blends traditional Yoruban folk drama with European dramatic form and is deeply satirical. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986. He was the first African to be honored with the title of Nobel Prize. The poem Telephone Conversation reveals racial discrimination. The poem is a poetic satire on racism. It is a telephone conversation between a white landlady and a prospective black tenant. Racial bias and color prejudice of the landlady and controlled anger of the tenant has been highlighted in the poem. Now come to the text of the poem. The price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I warned, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silenced transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice when it came. Lipstick coated, long gold rolled. Cigarette holder piped. Caught I was foully. How dark! I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button B, button A. Stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. Explanation of these lines. In these lines, the poet has presented a telephone conversation between an English landlady and a black Nigerian man. The black Nigerian man is looking for a house for rent. The price of the room and the location are agreeable to the man. During their conversation, the man gets to know that his privacy would not be disturbed as the landlady does not stay on the premises. Then the moment comes when the man has made up his mind to consider the offer. But right before he declares his interest in renting the place, he mentions to the white lady that he is black. At the other end of the line, the immediate response is nothing but silence. The African man takes it to an impolite gesture of refusal. However, the silence is soon broken as the landlady starts to speak again and asks him to explain exactly how dark he is. The depth of racial discrimination is remarkable here. At first, the man thinks that he might have misheard the question, but when the landlady repeats the same, he understands that it is something very important for her to know before she allows him to rent her house. This turns to be entirely devastating for the man. The speaker feels violated and realizes that he has been reduced to an object like the phone. Next stanza. Red booth, red pillar box, red double tired omnibus squelching tar. It was real, shamed by ill mannered silence, surrender pushed, dumbfounded to back simplification. Considerate she was, varying the emphasis. Are you dark or very light? Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its light, impersonality. Rapidly, wavelength adjusted. I choose West African sepia, and as afterthought, down in my passport. Silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness changed her accent. Hard on the mouthpiece, what's that? Conceding, don't know what that is. Like brunette, thanks. Dark is not it, not altogether. The speaker or the black African man smells the stench from her words because she has forgotten her good manners. The speaker sees red everywhere around him. The black African feels ashamed by the sudden silence at the other side, and he gets into a state of make believe when he sarcastically thinks that the lady has broken her silence and has given him the option to define how dark he is, like chocolate or dark or light. Then he describes himself as a West African sepia, as it is written in his passport. The landlady remains quiet for a while, not wanting to admit her ignorance, but then she gives in to curiosity and asks what that is. He replies that his skin color is similar to brunette. Brunette means a woman with brown hair, and she immediately clarifies that it means he is dark, he is black. Last and concluding stanza. Facially, I am brunette, but madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused foolishly, madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver rearing on the thunder black clap. About my ears, madam, I pleaded, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? Finally, the speaker decides to employ humor to tackle his humiliation. He says that he is black, but he is not that black for anyone to put to shame. He also says that the soles of his foot and the palms of his hand are all white, but he is a fool that he sits on his rear which has turned black due to friction. He knows that the lady will never be convinced with his black complexion, and he senses that she might slam down the receiver. At such a crucial juncture, knowing that the house is slipping out of his hand, he takes a jibe at the lady. He asks her to come and take a good look at him and then decide for herself. The speaker uses sharp wit and humor to make the readers understand the absurdity of racism and racial discrimination in Africa. Thanks.